Have you ever been thinking to yourself, damn, this shit would be kind of fire if it had a game? That's what I've been thinking about recently. I'm talking about so many anime that I've been watching lately. I'm like, yo, this should have a video game adaptation of some sort that's actually good. I'm tired of us getting bad anime games and then just these really great titles just being like they're mixed in with those bad anime game formula, that format. It's because, you know, we're cookie cutter. Like the anime community is kind of the lowest of the low, like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to getting very good and structured video games. I mean, you get games every now and then that's like Code Vein. You get games that are like I don't freaking know, Nier Automata. That's not really anime, but it has that aesthetic to it, you know what I mean? I also forgot to say that Tower of Fantasy and Genshin Impact and things like Honkai Star Rail are very big exceptions to the whole narrative that anime games are trash. There's really only a good handful, maybe a handful and a half of really great anime titles out there that mix it up and innovate in some type of way, or take aspects of other larger popular games and throw it into their own thing in their own way. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we should definitely try to do more of that for different games. And then you have, of course, you have the arena fighters, just like My Hero, the Demon Slayer game. You got games that are like Naruto and Dragon Ball, you know, got Xenoverse and stuff. But how come we're not using the other formulas, the other formats of making video games to create an anime adaptation to a game? Like, you don't have to have an arena fighter for a Rurouni Kenshin game to work, right? You don't have to have an arena fighter to make a freaking Yu Yu Hakusho work or a Seven Deadly Sins. You can just make a structured story, like kind of adapt some of the AAA format and make it into its own unique thing. Now, I just want to talk about what I think should have a video game adaptation. If my thoughts form good enough, since this is always off the top of my head and I just kind of have like points written out, I'll also try to note down some things that would be like a good fit for that game. Number one, Bleach. It is actually astonishing that Bleach doesn't have a good game. Like, it has a lot of mobile stuff, and I think it had one handheld like DS thing. I don't know. The Bleach game that I remember the most is Brave Souls. Honestly, it was okay, but I don't understand why we don't have a massive scale Bleach game, a really polished up console or PC adaptation to the Bleach story. We've played the Dragon Ball story over and over and over. Shout out to Dragon Ball. I love the story, but there's only so many times you can play that story and revisit it in different ways without it kind of getting boring every now and then. Or even if it's not boring, it's just like you don't want to experience it back to back to back to back to back, so you just take a break from those type of games and maybe you're just focused on the fighting side. Well, we haven't really had anything like that for Bleach. Bleach's story is fire as shit, so I don't understand why we don't have a really good adaptation of the Bleach storylines, as well as maybe a good arena fighter or adventure type RPG game for Bleach, going through the Soul Society. Like, that shit would be fine as hell, bro. I don't know, maybe I'm just alone in thinking that. Bleach is extremely underrated and extremely slept on when it comes to the potential that it has in the video game space. Number two, Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't care who you are. If you haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, you are missing out on the greatest anime of all time. Cap, a little bit of cap, but it is up there. It's definitely top 3, easily top 3 best anime of all time. Have to put it up there. If not top 3, easily top 5, and I can't put it down under 5. Like, there's a lot of competitors there, but you can't put Yu Yu Hakusho under 5. A good game that is structured for Yu Yu Hakusho would be something similar to like the Hunter x Hunter game we're getting. Maybe a 2v2 fighter, or again, that adventurous type of Kakarot feel to it, or Sandland, now that we're getting a Sandland game. This adventure RPG, there's a lot of anime that I feel could fit the adventure RPG section and not feel dull. Just give us enough inside of the game. You have Assassin's Creed that has gone so far from its roots. Again, another video I'm kind of working on. But you have Assassin's Creed that's gone so far from its roots, and they produce games that people still love. not me, but they still produce games that people love because it has all these different things that you can do in it. Sometimes it's a little bit of garbage. I understand. We hate AAA titles over here on this channel. I understand. I get it. But not all AAA titles are bad. Not all AAA games fit the same mold, such as God of War, right? That's not terrible. All right, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. There is a unique way that we can have a Yu Yu Hakusho game, as well as a bunch of these games that I'm listing off. By the way, let me know something in the comments, like what kind of game are you looking for when it comes to like any of the titles that I'm listing off. 7 Deadly Sins, we had a game, it was trash. Moving on. Rurouni Kenshin. I would love a Rurouni Kenshin game, as well as like a Samurai Champloo or an Afro Samurai game, kind of all fit inside the same genre of Ghost of Tsushima. Imagine a Rurouni Kenshin Ghost of Tsushima type of game. That shit would be crispy, bro. I'm telling you, that shit would be a top seller. An adventure space RPG, Cowboy Bebop, Psycho-Pass, that detective type shit, man. Like, there's so many games that we could be having right now, and instead we get opted in for these visual novels or these games that have barely any content in it, or they didn't polish the game up and it's just trash. So no wonder why Naruto and the Storm series is best-selling anime game of all time, because they actually put some work into it. Even with the flaws and the issues that we have with the recent game, like Connections is still leagues better than the average anime game. So hate me, I don't care. Don't be lying to yourself. Just don't lie to yourself. You know that, well, a lot of stuff I'm saying is true. We should come together and like, I don't know, create an indie studio that can somehow get the licensing for these anime. I know it's extremely unlikely. It's probably never gonna happen, but one could hope that people in the gaming industry actually want to sell good games and not just a product to take our money. Another game that would be fire is a solo leveling. So, note about solo leveling. I actually have every single volume of solo leveling, like, actually on, like, manga format. I know the anime kind of just came out, and all love to the anime. I've always been a manga reader first, so after I'm kind of like through the manga, and I love how it's colorized and stuff, 'cause I think it started as a webtoon. That'd be great for me to go into the anime of that. But anyways, the solo leveling game for that, I know is in development, I believe by a Korean studio, which makes me have some hope, because a lot of the times when we have Korean studios do anything in the gaming space, it tends to be pretty gas. I'm like, no joke. You really look through the history of some of these Korean game developers, they really be putting their foot in and kind of sometimes ushering in and being a pioneer for the gaming space in general, and just adopting new ideas or having their own spins and twists on stuff. So I don't really know what kind of a game solo leveling would need, other than saying that it would be kind of cool to have a solo leveling Dragon Quest type of video game where you can explore and do a bunch of stuff, like, again, RPG style, and you can go inside of like like a lot of dungeons and things like that. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? I know it's a memeable anime, but the first season is unmatched in anime. Honestly, it's so good. It's like everything SAO was supposed to keep, and then they just went downhill, which reminds me so much, so heavily. Why do we not have a VR SAO game? Why do we keep creating SAO games that are like what we have now? We need an augmented reality SAO game. We need a VR SAO game. We need one that intertwines the two. We need an SAO game that's actually polished and good. Like the RPG elements that's inside of the current SAO games, they're fine. The fact of the matter is that it's not polished well. It doesn't have the greatest graphics. All right, graphics is not really a huge deal. Let's be real here. But we all know that the SAO games kind of always fall flat. It's like they're missing something, or that's exactly what it is. It's like it's missing the soul of what SAO is supposed to be, and they just lean into one thing or the other, and SAO games kind of just, they turn me off now. I think the last SAO game I truly enjoyed the most was Lost Song. I had that shit imported from Japan. That's how much I fucking love that game, man. That shit was so good. I had that shit on the PS3 when they just dropped. Anyways, I digress. These are some anime that's on my mind that I actually really feel heavily that should have some kind of game adaptation that would be pretty cool to play. High School of the Dead is another one. Corpse Party, I would put that on there, but Corpse Party actually has a really good game already out. And if you haven't played it, you definitely should. And if you don't want to play it, then I definitely recommend watching Berleezy's playthrough. His shit was hilarious. Yeah, let me know what some other anime that you are looking forward to getting a game adaptation. And if you have better formulated thoughts than I do, which you probably do since most people explain things better than I can, definitely list out what type of game that you would like to see it in. Anyways, I appreciate you if you came through and you enjoyed the vibes. Slide and subscribe and all that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for the support, and I pray that we grow a really good community over here, that we can just talk amongst each other about video games and still have me do my playthrough-ish style stuff as well as talking, because I'm enjoying the new style of content. Peace.